All right, welcome back to My Best Friend's an Engineer. I'm Libby.
I'm Lexi.
And we're starting a podcast. Okay, I'm just gonna get right into my update because we were talking about it a little bit before we started recording
Should we say the
this.
topic?
Oh
It's
yeah.
Q&A.
It's a Q&A. I'm so emotional right now that I forgot that we need to announce the topic. It's a Q&A. All your questions will be answered in this. All your questions to life, we will answer in this podcast.
Yep, all the answers right here. All right, give us your update. You were very excited to talk about your
Oh god. Okay, so it's another car update. I was feeling so optimistic when we recorded last week that I would have a car by the end of this week. Luckily, like all the stress with the what is it called? The insurance company, that's like over. Thank God. But now I'm trying to currently tackle a new demon, which is finding a car. Oh,
That's the fun part, though.
you would think, right? So yeah, I mean, I got like the insurance stuff done, and actually on Monday, I called, or no, I think I received an email over the weekend that said like all my paperwork was compliant. So on Monday, I called my girl that has been helping me. I think she's called the estimator. Um, but I was like, yeah, I got a text that everything's compliant. Like, I just want to call and see if there's, follow up, see if there's anything else you need from me, like trying to be really nice about it. And
Mhm.
she's like, oh, good thing you called. I didn't even know. I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, my blood is boiling at this point. I'm like, oh, yep. Looks like we're ready to go. No worries though. So then they like process the direct deposit for the money or whatever. So that took 2 days. And so like I finally got the money in my account on Thursday, which was yesterday, because we're recording this on a Friday. And so yesterday, last night, we went to look at cars after work, and there's just like not really, and it's so funny because everybody on TikTok was like, so I was making, TikToks all week being like, okay, help me in the process of picking my car. And everybody was like, I don't care if you want this car, you're not going to be able to find it, girl, because there is nothing available. And I was like, Joe Schmoes, you guys kids. Okay, I'm going to find a cool car. Like, I was so excited.
My vote is, I think you posted a TikTok about this, the Ford Explorer. So this was actually the company car that I got back when I was
Oh,
on the East
really?
Coast. At the consulting company, which I could totally just talk about, like the differences between working at a consulting company and having to travel and kind of what you get. So that was
Yeah.
interesting, actually. But I loved the Ford Explorer, and it was so funny because my coworkers all hated it. They were like, "It's too big. Like, it's just, it's not a car that a little lady drives." But I
Little
was like,
lady.
I was driving in it. I was like, I'm loving life. It's huge. Like, I feel so great right now. I don't know, but
Oh my God.
I
Okay,
love that.
well, that's sweet. I did test drive a Ford Explorer, so we'll have to see what ends up happening.
Yes,
Um,
it's updated,
but I'm
but
just
you
so
will.
defeated because I'm like right now I'm like I don't even care. I just want a car.
Yeah.
Like I'm like I don't care if I could save $100. Like I just want this car.
So have
So
you
we'll see.
not been going to any vendor visits because of the car situation, or are you able to?
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, so luckily my big project starts up in the middle of February, and we're recording this in the beginning of February. And so I haven't had a car since Christmas. And so luckily, there hasn't been anything that is my boss has been like really on me, but there have been times where the customer has visited our shop. And luckily I'm kind of tag teaming this one project with my mentor, so he's been able to be there and he's been super understanding. But it's just annoying and you don't want to be like,
Yeah.
"Oh, sorry, like I don't have a car." Like, I don't know. So, we'll see. How was your week?
My week, I feel like my weeks are so boring compared to yours because you have your car situation, you have your dog getting his tail cut off.
Oh my God, yes. Poor
Um,
Tifa.
so I was on site 2 days this week. So, like I said last week, I'm kind of like toning down with site visits.
Mhm.
So that's good. It was kind of refreshing to actually work from home. It's kind of crazy how, like, everyone thinks like work from home, you're not productive. I am just so much more productive at home because I feel like we
Yeah,
don't have that social aspect of the office or, people just walking in asking for updates. I'm like,
literally.
so yeah, but other than that, pretty boring compared to yours.
No, I'm jealous. Did you have to do any like 5 a.m. or are your site visits always pretty
No.
much 5 a.m. or no?
No, so they were 5 a.m. just because of the production runs. So we were just
Oh,
running
okay,
product.
good.
So that's why I was at 5 a.m. Actually, I could not sleep. So I woke up, this thing sounds so lame. So I woke up at like 5 a.m. just without an alarm on Monday.
Yeah.
And I could not fall back asleep. And I wanted to get this final report out for initial review. So I was like, oh, maybe I'll just go to site early. So I get there at 6. Okay, I could not figure out. So I guess
That's
it
such a
wasn't
Lexi
good.
thing of you to do.
I was just like, what am I gonna do? Just sit here? Like, I'm just gonna go
Yeah.
there and just send it.
Oh my
So,
gosh.
because I needed to scan some things in, but I could not figure out where where the lights were. No one told me because
Oh no.
because there were none in the main hallway where my office is, and there's none in my actual office either.
Oh god.
And I was like clicking on the lights, and it was like the front desk lights, like the lounge or like the lobby, and it was just I simply could not find. I was like, am I like still
I could
asleep or is
just
this
picture
unreal?
you walking around being like, "Is
So
anybody in here?"
I was like, this is just so embarrassing right now. I was like, oh my god. And then so one of the guys comes in, he comes in at like 7:38. So this is me an hour and a half. I have my flashlight
Yeah.
on. Like I'm like in the dark, like my monitors are like lighting the way.
Oh my god.
And
Was he
so yeah,
like,
I'm
"Can
just like
I help
imagining myself.
you?"
What?
Was he just like, "Can I help you?" Like,
He walks in and he's like, "Oh my god, I didn't even see you." I was like, "Oh, surprise, I'm here." And he's like, "Oh, just for reference, like they're in the conference room." So they were in like across the hallway and in a different room. And he's like, "I don't know why we don't tell people that have offices here where the lights are." I was like,
oh
"Okay,
my
well, I
gosh.
don't feel as dumb now, but I also feel just disappointed that I sat there for 2 hours. But what am I gonna do? Drive home? It's 45 minutes. No,
Yeah, so
I
you
sit
just had
there.
your flashlight on and your
Yeah, and
monitor
my
light?
monitors, my little 3 screens lighting the way. I was like, "Oh my god, if anyone looks in the window right now, because we have huge windows, I was like, you can
Yeah.
you see some weird girl just staring, trying to get this report sent."
They're like, "Is she pulling an all-nighter or did she just get there? Because we can't tell."
So that was the only early morning, but yeah, just wanted to get it done, and I got it out. Final report
Good.
out. Bada bing, bada boom.
And sometimes those, it's like you just wanna get them done.
Exactly. So I was
Like,
like, "No one's gonna be there, no one will talk to me." I was like, "I'll scan everything in. Boom.
yeah.
File attachment on the email. We're good."
Done. Bada bing, bada boom.
So that was my week.
Oh, that's awesome. Do you have to do any I know you said it's kinda winding down. Are you gonna have to be on site next week a lot, or you're not
I
sure
don't think
yet?
as much. I think Monday for sure I'll be there, because we're getting the samples back from sterilization. So some of the samples are gonna be sold and released as actual product, but then some I'll have to
Ooh.
pool for the validation. So and then they'll be sterilized a second time for the worst case scenario. So that's pretty fun. You guys get to learn all about validation, but
Yeah.
you can actually pool some. So I'll be there on Monday. So we'll see after that how often I'll have to be there. But
So you might have a better update for us, like, next week
yeah, I might have something more exciting.
on
Maybe
how
I'll
it's going.
yeah.
Do you have any, oh, I was gonna ask you if you had any Valentine's Day plans, and then I realized it's literally February 4th, and Valentine's Day is in, like, 2 weeks.
Is it not?
Oh,
It's next. Oh no, it's not. Oh my god.
is it in
I
2
totally
weeks?
thought the same thing. Yeah. Okay,
Yeah,
we'll talk about that next.
I literally thought it was this week, and
Yeah, I
then
know. I feel like being on site, the time has flown by. I'm like, I can't believe it's already February 4th. But then I'm also getting like confused and all jumbled up in my head because I'm like, is Valentine's Day this weekend? Like I thought the Super Bowl was this Sunday. Like my friends were talking about it and talking about
yeah,
plans. I was like, okay, I'll be there this Sunday. It's like, thank
and then
God I
you're like,
realized. I'm like,
"Wait."
I'm gonna show up to their house and be like, hello.
Well, I feel like when you have such a crazy thing going on at work, you can't think about anything else, and literally your, like, life schedule revolves around it, so it's like, okay, well, I have to do this amount of work before I can get to that, so, like, it's gonna feel like so much longer.
Yes, I totally agree.
Oh, okay, well,
All right.
thanks for listening to me, literally complain and rant for 10 minutes about a
After
car.
18 minutes of us talking about or
I
weeks.
know, right? Maybe I guess we could actually get into the meat of the episode.
Perfect. Let's see. Okay.
Before we start the meat of the episode, should we start it off on a more positive note on some lovely feedback that we got from our Google form?
I think that's a great idea.
Would you take it away by refreshing our lovely audience what the Google form is and what they get if they fill it out?
Yes. So the Google form is in our Instagram bio. If you submit it, you get entered um, in our giveaway, which is TBD. I think we're going to try and either do a follower count number or maybe like an episode number.
Mhm.
But TBD, we keep talking about that and we keep forgetting to reconvene after the episodes and actually
We'll
set something
reconvene
in
after this
stone.
one.
Yeah. And then once you submit that, you get 3 templates. One is a 4-year college planner. It helps you track your classes. The other is a job application tracker for people who are in college or maybe applying to internships. And then the last is a work project tracker, which also could be applied to school projects.
Yeah, I actually started using our work tracker myself to keep track
Perfect.
of things for work because, well, I'm just trying to be a lot more organized at work right now. I think last week I talked about how I'm using OneNote all the time. Now, I figured out how to put the the meetings into OneNote, and then I'm doing the thing where you take meeting minutes and I'm checking the people that attend the meeting and then I'm sending it off to the people.
Nice.
And I said in the email, I said, sending off these meeting minutes to keep a good paper trail for future projects.
Oh, paper trails. My
Taking a
goodness
little bit of
gracious.
your advice.
I love
So,
them.
so yeah. All right, I will go ahead and read one. We got this from a listener who um, submitted her Google form and she got the templates. And she says, I have loved listening to the podcast. It has opened my eyes in a lot of different areas in engineering. I'm a senior in high school wanting to become an engineer. That is amazing. Good luck if you're a senior in high school. That means you're probably about to graduate high school. So congratulations. And yeah, good luck. Hopefully you can continue to listen to the pod and we can give you some more insight, and as you're getting ready for college and stuff, hopefully it can just provide, a lot of value to you. So that's so exciting.
So exciting. Awesome. So then this listener said, I am so excited to continue listening to this podcast. It's so encouraging to see other women in the STEM field talk about their experiences. As a junior in engineering, I feel almost clueless as to where to go after this. I feel that in projects in school, boys don't take us seriously. I am very excited to hear how you both made it through this and how you're handling it in the workforce. I can't wait for future episodes. Awesome. Thank you so much for your support. And also, almost done. You're more than halfway there. Junior in engineering, I feel like junior year is the hardest year for sure.
Yeah, I agree.
But oh, we'll tell you all about how we handle boys in the workforce.
Oh yeah. Wait, I love too how everybody's like so excited. All of our listeners, I feel like keep being like, "Oh, I can't wait for future episodes," and I'm like, "Oh, neither can we."
I
Like,
know. I'm so excited.
like good. I'm so excited that people actually like it. So, all right. Okay. So I'm just gonna give a little intro here. So we went on our Instagram and little shameless promo here. As always, if you guys want to be involved in future episodes, if you want to have a say in what we talk about, or if you just want to answer questions that will be featured on the podcast episodes, make sure you're following our Instagram at my best friends in engineer. For this week, we put a question box up on stories and just did a Q&A. So ask me anything, just anything that you guys had on your minds about, engineering or, school, a job, whatever. So we're just going to be going through those questions and kind of each going back and forth, giving like our responses, our advice, our experiences, and hopefully it can be helpful. So, first question, starting off strong. This person said, when did you decide you wanted to be an engineer? Were there other careers you considered prior to or even during your pursuit of an engineering degree? Love that question.
That's a good one. So I feel like we kind of briefly touched on this in an earlier episode, but so we can answer it quickly. We don't have to go into
Hmm.
too much detail. When
Yeah.
did I decide I wanted to be an engineer? So I think that I solidified my wanting to be an engineer when I was applying to schools, and then I actually had to pick a major because I always kind of knew I wanted to do something in the STEM field.
Mhm,
Um, so, and I knew I didn't really want to just do biology or chemistry, just because I wasn't super set on like medical school or, law school or anything after that.
mhm.
I thought engineering, you can definitely get a job right out of school. So that kind of answers like what other careers you considered during our pursuit of an engineering degree.
Yeah.
All of the above. I was like, oh, let me take an econ class. Maybe I I was just going through so many crises. I was like, oh my god. But yeah, I did consider a lot. Medical school, law school. I was like, oh my god, let me just go to business. Let me just be an econ girly.
All
Um,
we wanted to do it all, is basically what she's
we
saying.
basically were just I just overthought everything. But I would not change my degree now. If I could go back with everything I know now, I would definitely get a chemical engineering degree again.
Yeah.
Yeah. How about you, Libby?
I wanted to do, in high school, I always thought I was gonna be an art teacher, until I found out that I actually don't really like working with kids, like, just to be straight up and blunt, like, teachers are miracle workers, God bless you all, so that's what I thought I wanted, and then kinda, yeah, the more I thought about it, I was like, I don't really think this is something that I would necessarily, enjoy or be good at. So I then was considering other things. I chose mechanical engineering solely because I took a class senior year of high school. It was called Small Engines. We took apart an engine and put it back together, and I that kind of opened my eyes to engineering. I'm from a really, really small town in Wisconsin, kind of like a farm town where, I don't know, it's just not a big school. Like it's our high school is like 300 kids, so not
That's
too many
crazy.
people, right? Like how big was your school? Did you
It
go to a
was
big school?
300 per class, so 1,200.
Oh,
I
okay.
think it was
Well,
300 per class. That sounds about right.
that's a little bit bigger.
Yeah. It's
But
not too
like
big compared to like I feel like some schools have like 800 per class. It's
yeah,
insane.
or like
Like, where do all these
almost
kids come from? My God. How
or,
many
like,
kids do
even some of them feel like a college size, like a
true.
smaller
Yeah.
college. Ugh, so many kids, but, yeah, I mean, there wasn't with, going to a small high school comes with not people weren't doing too many different things. I mean, for the most part, people were leaving my high school and going to get a business degree, so there wasn't too many people that came before me that I knew had majored in engineering, so yeah, kind of just decided to go for it. So yeah, I guess to answer the question, was I considering other careers? Something art related, but then I kind of wanted to incorporate math and science a little bit more because those were also topics I really enjoyed in high school. So engineering was kind of like a good combination of everything. Specifically mechanical because of the like AutoCAD and drawing aspect. So that kind of I was like, oh, I'll incorporate my interest in art that way. Um, and yeah, I think that pretty much answers the question.
Yeah.
It's funny you mentioned econ because I totally had the idea when I was a freshman. I was like, I'm gonna get a minor in econ.
Oh my God, we all wanted minors.
I feel like everybody wanted a minor in econ.
We're like, we're gonna do engineering with a minor in business, and we're like, oh my God, we don't even have time for the engineering degree,
And
which is something we could totally talk about, just like planning and scheduling. Oh my gosh, so many ideas. But
and how funny, like we just didn't even know. Like I was doing 18 credit semesters as to begin with. Like where was I going to put this
I know.
minor,
I was like,
Like
oh, let me just fit it in between like lunch on Mondays and Wednesdays. No.
right? Oh
Also,
my gosh.
speaking of AutoCAD, I kind of like how you connected it to your wanting to be an art teacher. Every time I'd walk by and you guys would be using AutoCAD, I literally thought of Sims. I was like, what are
Oh
they
my gosh.
doing? And I was
Wait,
like, oh my God, they're playing games.
that's so funny because I took this class. Oh, I wish I remember what it was called, but it was like a Six Sigma lean class and
Mhm.
we had to like there were different scenarios, like a hospital, and you had to have like these different stations, and you literally had these little people like walking to each of the station, and you had to see like how long each task took, and if there were any bottlenecks where like multiple little people would be standing in a line,
Multiple
like
little people.
so
Wait,
you
that's
could
so cool.
see.
Was
And it
that in school or was that like an industry kind of extra
That was in
class you had?
school. It
Oh,
was an
that's so
elective.
fun.
It was a
Oh,
manufacturing elective,
oh,
but
okay. So I was gonna say that sounds fun. I would have liked
it
that.
it was so funny though because like I wish I remembered more about what it was, but on the program you could literally hit like you could make the time frame like 24 hours and make all
Mhm.
these little people like run around really fast, and like you could definitely see where a crowd would form
Yeah.
if you had to adjust your process or something. So
Wait,
just a
that's
little
so
side
fun.
tangent.
So that was literally Sims. There you go.
Yeah.
So fun.
Cool. I think
Excellent.
we answered that pretty well, right?
Yeah. All right, second question. If we don't have Theta Taught at my school or any organization for girls in engineering, is there a way to start one?
Ooh,
Libby, do you want to give this one a go?
yeah. That's tough because, I wish we could be the end all be all and give you an answer for everything, but I do kind of feel like this is one that I mean, I can't really speak on just because I've never personally like started an organization in college from the ground up. Um, but I think it's like, with anything, if that's really something you want to do, there definitely are resources out there. I mean, we know somebody who actually was in our Theta Tau family who started the chapter at Miami.
She's so
So
cool. Little girl boss.
little girl boss, and so like you know, there she went to school when I was there. You were there too with Julie, right, Lexi?
Yeah.
Yeah, so like that's only it's not like this. I'm trying to make the point of like it's not like this Theta Taught at our school had been around for years and years and years, um, and they had everything set in stone, and that's why we had all these amazing experiences. It was a relatively new chapter, so there's definitely ways to, form things if they don't already exist at your school. I don't know.
So fun.
What do you think, Lexi?
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I think it's harder to start like a Theta Tau or like maybe another, engineering fraternity chapter because you have to go through nationals.
Mm,
From what I like briefly remember from what Julie was saying about the process, I think you have to go through that whole approval process and then like you have to get a certain number of people interested. So that one is definitely takes a lot more work.
mm-hmm.
But I feel like with all these other, organizations that exist, like maybe like Society of Women Engineers, I don't think it is that, intensive to get it started. And I feel like that is much easier. But yeah.
Yeah. Well, I know that I don't know who specifically it was from our Theta Tau, but I remember when we were in school, somebody started like an oil and gas organization or something.
Oh, yes.
And it was a bunch of like mechies, probably some
Yeah.
chemies too. And I don't know how they started it, but I literally think like a few people just had an idea for this organization and they started posting flyers and like I think it would definitely involve some research because I don't know if you need like a faculty advisor or if you can just, I'm sure if you want to start like a
Yeah.
club or something, you can definitely like spearhead that on your own and
Yeah, I feel like
advocate and
yeah,
yeah.
I feel like with like one that has like a national organization, like I guess Swedes too, Society of Women Engineers. I feel like you definitely need a faculty advisor, but maybe if
Mm-hmm.
you got a group of people together and you called it something else, just like for your school, I think that would be much easier. And maybe you rent out a room at a certain time, and then you just post those flyers, and then you get the whole group going.
Yeah, and like obviously it changes for each university, but I know that, it was pretty easy to reserve rooms in our engineering building. I think there was just a website you had to go on and you could reserve it. So,
All the
if
good ones
you're
are always taken.
I know. But, I think if somebody wanted to start something, whether that's like a club for women in engineering or, or if you do want to do something bigger, like, form a SWE or a Theta Tau at your university, yeah, I think there's definitely ways to do that. It might just take a little bit more research. Okay. Is there anything else you want to touch on before we move on for that question?
I think another way that we could help you is maybe having Julie on the podcast, and we'll see if she wants to actually talk about her process with starting a new data tall chapter on at school.
Yeah,
So
especially
we'll have
because
to call
we
her up and see.
be like, Julia, come on the pod, please. Because yeah, we advocate for it so much, and I mean, I guess I didn't even think. I mean, I knew Theta Tau wasn't at every single school, but since it was just such a big part of our college experiences, I just yeah, that would be super cool to have somebody on who actually knows how, or who has started one, knows
Definitely.
kind of what the process is like.
Yeah.
And hopefully that could be more helpful than just us giving you
Yeah.
our ideas.
Rent a room. Rent a room.
Rent
Hand
a
out
room
some
and
flyers.
hand out flyers. Oh man. Okay, the next question. Somebody asked, how stressed should I be as a college sophomore about getting a summer internship? Lexi, didn't you have a internship as a sophomore?
I did. I did. I had it was a startup with the smaller company. And I got that one just by literally emailing them.
Oh,
So, I
really?
mean, if you're stressed about and you really want an internship, I say if the applications aren't working, just start emailing these companies and kind of doing that. But in regards to the question, I don't think you should be stressed at all. I think it's a good sign that you are already thinking about it as a sophomore, but I don't think it's really expected or kind of a standard that sophomores should, you know, get internships. I
Yeah.
think there are definitely other ways to build your resume. Maybe you can get involved with a research lab. I don't know. It depends, of course, where you go to school and if you want to stay on campus for the summer. And even if you get a job that isn't necessarily
Mhm.
related to engineering. It's all about how you spin it, and you definitely show that you're able to work and you have a good work ethic with, a job that isn't related to the engineering field. Yeah, and I mean, even just volunteering, you can utilize your summer that way. But I would
Mhm.
say don't be stressed. But if you really are set on wanting to get a summer internship, that's literally what I did. I emailed the CEO, and it was just a very very small company at that point. So
How did you like find them, and how did you find their email?
I actually got connected with a girl who was really big in the entrepreneurship department,
Mhm.
and so this was a skincare company, and she knew that I
Wait,
was
was this at school?
yeah. This is
Okay,
cool. This
okay,
is
okay.
so okay. We're setting the scene. It's my sophomore year. It's like January. So honestly, probably what this person is going through right now, because it's like January, February.
Yeah.
And I was the same way. I wanted an internship. I wanted to utilize my summer. So she just mentioned this company, and it was a startup dealing with skincare. And she knew I was kind of interested because, again, we were doing like a lot of midlife
Mhm.
crises. Couldn't get the plural of crisis. But so I was like, oh, cosmetic industry. This is what I want to do. It's like,
Mhm.
okay, girlfriend, you were wanting to be a doctor like 2 months ago.
Yeah, right. Never say
So
never.
yeah. So I was interested in that, and she knew. And so she mentioned, the company. She had their contact, or she just had their website actually. So
Oh,
I
okay.
went to the website and I just emailed them and I said I was connected. This girl mentioned because she spoke to them actually on a panel, I
Mhm.
believe, or maybe it was just an interview. But I kind of used that. I asked the girl if I could, you know, reach out. She said, "Yeah, that's a good idea." And that's kind of how we got connected.
Wow, I feel like that could be applied for people who maybe find opportunities on LinkedIn too. I
Oh,
don't know if
love
you
LinkedIn.
did the girl, I'm sorry if you said this or not, but did the girl give the email or like,
No, it was just the website. From what I
oh, the
remember,
website. Okay.
I hope I'm remembering it correctly, but I remember sitting in it was like where the Emporium was, like what's the Armstrong. I was sitting in Armstrong and I sent the
Armstrong.
email there. Just
Oh.
remember that vivid memory. But I remember I got it. I went to the website first. I was like, oh, okay, this is a cool little idea. So
Yeah,
yeah.
I was listening to actually a different podcast this week. And a girl was talking about being a woman in tech, and the question was, how do you make connections at a company if you don't know anybody who works there? And she was like, utilize LinkedIn. Like, you'd be surprised. So maybe in the future we could have somebody on who has more experience with just kind of reaching out to people via LinkedIn, but I wouldn't I wouldn't disregard that as an option either, too.
Definitely. Yeah, I literally sent the email and I was like, okay, I'm not gonna hear back.
Mhm.
And so
Like
then
low
I was like, oh,
expectations.
yeah. I was like, might as well at this point. I was like, what am I gonna do this summer? So why the
Yeah.
job for sure. So yeah, I sent it and then I actually got an email back. She's like, oh, let's talk on the phone. It's like, yes.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. I was super stressed as a sophomore in college. I like have these vivid memories of calling my mom crying, telling her that I was a failure and that I needed to switch my major just because I didn't have an internship yet in like February of my sophomore year. And she's like, "You need to chill out because you still have 2 years of college left." And I was like, "You have never majored in engineering before. You don't understand the stress that I'm under." Like, being so dramatic, but I think I was so stressed because I was surrounding myself in that more competitive environment of being in theta taught each week, and I think the people that were in our chapter were definitely like, high achieving, highly motivated people that which was good, because it
yeah.
it, it rubbed off on us, but I was kind of seeing that's all I was being exposed to was like everybody, getting internships and getting ready for the summer, and I was kind of freaking out a little bit, but no, like, summer going into my junior year, I was a waitress at a restaurant that is close to my house. Um and when I was, applying to internships for junior year, like you said, Lexi, I kind of tried to use that experience to spin it, in a new way. Like if you think about things that are important in a engineering role, you want to be able to make smart decisions, you want to be able to work well with a team, you want to have good leadership skills. So I was kind of just trying to think about those, like, I guess you could call them like larger soft skill categories, and figuring out what, all those good buzzwords, how I could incorporate them into the description of that job experience that summer, since it wasn't, specifically an internship or any sort of engineering work experience. So yeah, I don't think you should be stressed,
It's
hopefully.
all about
It's all about mindset, girl.
yeah, it's all about how you spend things too, honestly.
Yeah.
That's what I found, especially in interviews too. You just gotta spin
Yeah.
it well.
Yeah, and don't be afraid to be like, "You know what? Yeah, for example, if you're, going to be applying for internship or co-op experiences and you don't have previous, work experience, don't be afraid to be like, you know what, yeah, I don't specifically, have this experience, however, and then get ready for your list of other things, like, however, I'm in these clubs and I'm taking on these private projects, or I work closely with a professor, I'm interested in these things and I research and do side projects. There's definitely other things that you can do to make up for, that lack of experience right there in the beginning.
Yes, definitely. Awesome. Do you have anything else to add to that question?
Um, Stay strong. We're thinking of you.
Good luck. Let
You
us know. Let us know
you
what
can do it.
yeah, let us know what you decide to do this summer. Either way,
Yeah.
it'll be fun and you'll be able to spin it and utilize it to get
Yeah.
a full-time job eventually.
Yeah. As we grow on this podcast, so are you. So I'll be looking
I like
forward to
that.
hearing how they're growing.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay, next question, which I really like this one. How to gain trust and respect from shift workers, which I really
Mm.
I think you don't, consider this a lot in
Yeah.
industry at all.
Yeah. So I'll go ahead and take it away for my response on this one. My experience so far, with my job, post grad, which, I'll just speak on that work experience for this question. But I work in an environment where we have a shop that is like total, just like stereotypical shop. Like if you're thinking of a manufacturing shop, like dimly lit, everything's pretty much gray, like lots of heavy machinery around, overhead cranes. If you're just trying to picture a typical manufacturing setting, that is like what our shop looks like. And attached to that is our corporate office. And, of course, we have other departments. We have like accounting and HR and stuff like that. And those people don't really go down in the shop too often. So the people that are, the shift workers that, are, the laborers who are performing all the labor for us, they really are only used to seeing particular friendly faces. So my advice for this is just to show up and show your face. If you think about it, if you're performing, I'm trying to think of like an analogy, but like these people are the ones that are performing the work for us. And especially with me being a project manager, I'm the one who's coming in and saying, okay, here's the scope we got. Here's the customer, here's the equipment. Um, I'm they want respect, I'm trying to just basically say that like they would rather see your face than just like receive an email from you. You know what I'm saying? Like
Definitely.
they want you to be involved. If this is something that is your project that they're performing the labor for, like go down, talk to them, have a conversation with them. Of course, if you're able. Ask them how things are going. See if there's anything they need. I always like to say, hey, do you have all the drawings that you need? Do you have all the work instructions? Are you confused on anything? Like, I think just having an open flow of communication and trying to put them first, and being like, is there any way I can make your job easier, is a really good way to gain some respect from those people. What do you think?
Definitely. I totally agree with that. I think I am in a similar setting with like the manufacturing. We have the corporate office connected to the actual manufacturing area.
Mhm.
So one thing that that I was literally doing this past week and the week before with these production runs is I was there when they were running the product. So I was, again, it's what you're saying, just be present, just be there. They do respect that instead of getting an email or having working with someone who is just in the office.
Mhm.
I think that definitely helps. One thing I also, noticed during these production runs is my validation runs were messing up their normal production schedule. So
Okay.
one thing, I wanted to show them that I really appreciated this, that they were doing this. So again, I came in at 5. I know one of the managers, told me, he said, "Oh, don't come in that early. You can start the run later." But it was definitely much more helpful to have my runs out of the way initially,
Mhm.
'cause then he could go back to his settings, his normal parameters and everything, and run the process as normal. So I think again, it's being there, talking to them, asking, like you said, how can I make this easier, or what do you need from me? In that
Mhm.
case, it was he needed these runs out of the way just so he can start focusing on hitting his production goals for that week. And then, again, asking, I needed some QA inspectors during the process. So I was asking them, okay, do you want to do all 3 runs today? Do you want to do 2 today, 1 tomorrow? So again, they were the same way, that they were like, please get this validation done. They're like, we
Yeah.
want to go back to normal process because, we were pulling different sample sizes. So it was just, it was definitely frustrating for them to deal with, but I think it kind of helped me asking them. And I think, I don't know. That's also what I heard from quality. The quality engineer there on site was suggesting that I just straight up ask them,
Mhm.
what they need. So yeah, that's what I would suggest. Just being there, being able to respond quickly, because with email, it takes a while to see that. But yeah.
Yeah, and I think that, something that sometimes people will say about engineers, like a stereotype, is like, "Oh, well, yeah, you guys don't actually know how things work together, so, nobody ever ends up following what the engineer says because we just have to change it because you don't actually know what's going on, down on the floor."
Hmm.
I've definitely heard that before. So I think that and of course, this all depends on your job and like stuff like that. But something that I like to do too with these shift workers is I'll go down and you know and ask them, do you have any recommendations, or is there anything based on your experience that you would recommend I look out for or try to anticipate? Because everybody loves talking about themselves, obviously. Like, so I've noticed that when I ask them for their input as well, rather than just being like, here, we need to do this project, this is what you need to do, um and again, it depends on your company, but I've noticed that when I ask them for, if they have any recommendations for how we can succeed better, uh, they kind of are a little bit more responsive to, being open to talking to me and stuff like that during the project. So,
Definitely.
yeah.
Yeah, I completely agree. And you know what? That saying is in a way kind of true because one, I don't know this machine. As
Yeah,
a chemical
right?
engineer, okay, yeah, I do know machines. I learned about them, but I don't know it as well as the operator does, for sure. Like
Mhm.
all the little kinks that happen, he knows like how to address them and address the issues. So, yeah, I definitely agree with that.
Yeah. So, hopefully that can provide a little bit of insight.
Yeah, and I really like that question because a lot of people don't even think about the fact that they have to work alongside, shift workers or,
Yeah.
the manufacturing like operators. So, which is something I didn't really consider either. I didn't really think, validation. You can be in a manufacturing setting, but I didn't necessarily think I would, be working alongside as much as I am. So,
Yeah, and like, I think another sometimes stereotype is that engineers are like really, really cocky or have like a godlike complex. And, I just feel like it makes it such a better work environment. And just like you as a person are more respected when you just like come down to earth a little bit and like humble yourself a little bit and realize that like a lot of these, shift workers or operators have been doing it a lot longer usually than you have. And
definitely,
like you said, Lexi, they know how to sense when something's happening or how to fix something. And yeah, I
definitely.
think
I
their
was
input is
yeah,
really
I was so
valuable.
I was so humbled last Monday. I was like, "It's 5 AM, we're ready to run this production run." Boom, the chain doesn't work, and I was like it's
You're
like
like, "Does
I was
anybody
like,
have a spare
"What
chain?"
material didn't account for this?" It's like, "What is going on?"
Oh,
I
no.
was so humbled. You can imagine me just, like, waiting for it to run, and then all of a
You're,
sudden,
like,
it's
looking
not working.
around.
I was like, "Oh, no."
Oh,
I was like,
no.
"Okay." But yeah,
Yeah.
it's so humbling to be in a manufacturing environment, but
And I feel like those workers want you to succeed more when you, like, respect them too, you know?
definitely, and
Like,
and they want you out of their hair, honestly, and
yeah.
one way I was out of there was to get these foundation
They're
runs
like, "Little
done.
girl, please leave me alone."
Literally. I was like, "I'm so sorry." I was like
Oh my
they're like,
gosh.
again, because so for validation, you have to do an OQ and PQ.
Mhm.
So I was, in December, I was there for the OQ, and then I'm all back for the PQ, which it takes longer usually because those are, like,
Are you
actual.
able to say what the acronyms stand for? Or is that,
Yes.
like,
So
confidential?
OQ is operational qualification, and then PQ is performance qualification. So
Ooh,
operational qualification kind of deals with um, setting the parameters. So you test the worst case, so low and high of the process, and then the PQ, it's usually run at the normal parameters, and that's like
okay,
the longer one. Then you have to do three to ensure repeatability of the process. So.
okay. You
So
learn
yeah, I could
something
do
new
a whole
every day.
episode about validation but so
We should
fun.
do we should each do an episode just asking each other all about what we do for our jobs
Yeah.
because I have
We
no idea what you do for your job.
no one knows what validation
I
does.
learn
I
more
learned
every
so much
day.
of it. But yeah, no, definitely. I think it's harder with us because I feel like with some things we need to keep it confidential, but like with these general things, I definitely go on and talk about them. So that would
Yeah,
definitely be interesting. So I
yeah.
feel like we're very vague on these episodes about what we do because we're like, please don't fire me.
I know, right? Everything's confidential, but we're
Yeah.
trying to give, advice. Okay, well,
Awesome.
what do you think? Do you wanna answer one more question? I think we might have to do a part 2
I
because
think we might.
just
Yeah, we have a few more, but yeah,
we
which
love to
one?
chat.
We love to chat. The intro is 20 minutes
I
long.
know. R.I.P. intro.
Um, okay, yeah, do you wanna let's pick one. Do we wanna do you pick the next one.
Do we want to end with a controversial one?
We must,
Uh,
I think. It's on
okay.
brand. Just kidding.
I think we keep it spicy and we answer the question of how do you respond to vaguely sexist remarks from people you
Nice.
work with?
I'm happy you picked that one. Okay.
I knew you would.
I was like, which one is she gonna pick? Okay, yeah, I can go first.
Okay.
So I'm a very sarcastic person. I think I deal with all things like in a sarcastic manner. All things. Like,
Mhm.
if you're saying congratulations, like, okay, thank you. Like I just
Yeah, right?
I'm just so uncomfortable with like these kinds of things. So I just think that's the way my mind works, just
Yeah.
responding sarcastically to a lot of things. So I love getting these little remarks and answering sarcastically or like doing something a little snarky in a professional way and then just
Right.
catching them off guard, and they're like, "Oh my god, I can't believe she said that." And I was like, "Well, I can't believe you said that either."
Right? Right back at you, buddy.
It's definitely a hard, balance though, because you have to, like, try and, like, minimize that. You're like, "Oh, ha ha, hee hee," like, after, like, you're trying to
That's gonna be my next response anytime I get a sexist remark.
Yeah, I always do the sarcastic comment, and then I make a little joke, and then I try to bring it back with, like, trying to make it not I don't wanna seem
Yeah,
dramatic, I don't want them to think, "Oh my god, she's gonna go to HR," you know?
right.
I
Well,
just want
I
them to
feel
know,
like
like, if
it's
you're
such
gonna
a
make it
fine line.
yeah, exactly. So that's why I try to, like, always just bring it back with a joke or something. But no, I love being sarcastic, and they're probably like, "Oh
Yeah,
my god, I can't believe she said that." But how about you?
right. Well, it's such an uncomfortable thing, I feel like, to talk about because there are so many, like, opinions or avenues about the way women handle themselves, like, in the STEM industry. You know, sometimes people will say, "Well, oh, I don't wanna come across like bitchy or like a know-it-all," because a lot of times people say like, "Oh, well, if women stand up for themselves, clearly, like, what's up your butt for the day? Like, why are you in such a bad mood?" And it's like,
Yeah,
"No, I'm just sticking up for myself."
definitely.
So it can be such a weird thing to respond to because, like you said, you don't want people to be like, think you're gonna send them to HR, but then at the same time, it's like, "Oh, well, but if something does happen, we will send them to HR," like, it's such
Yeah,
a
it's
weird
it's very hard
thing.
because you don't want to seem dramatic either, and that's
Yeah,
one thing I struggle with because I'm like, "Am I being too sensitive today? Like, is it
yeah,
just me?" And I'm like, "Should I have?" And then I every time I make a comment or I don't think I've ever been in a situation where I've had to stick up for myself,
mhm,
in such a straightforward manner. So it's good. So I'm very lucky for that.
yeah,
But I always make these like little comments or whenever I address these kind of situations, I overthink it. I'm like, oh my god, should I have said that or should I have been a little annoyed at that? And then
mhm,
usually I get over it on my drive home. I'm like, okay, yeah, that was valid. But I
yeah,
do agree with that. It's definitely a hard, you don't want to seem too dramatic, but you also, again, wanna stick up for yourself.
yeah, yeah, I definitely, kinda, like, do what you do with, like, turning to humor. I mean, like you said, and again, I'm also lucky to be working at such an awesome company that I have not really had to deal with it. Um, I really don't have to deal with um too much misogyny when I'm working, which obviously is good. That's what you want as a woman in this industry. You want to find an environment that's like that because not all of them are. But I mean, I have had people like, labor workers in the shop because I love to get my nails done. They'll be like, "Oh, girl, you got a new set." But, I see comments like that, or people will comment on, like, my funky pants. But I don't necessarily, like, take those as offensive, like, I'm like, "You know what? They're trying." Like, they don't know how else to connect with me. So,
Definitely.
yeah, they're probably gonna make a comment about how I curled my hair that day, or I'm wearing lipstick, or I'm wearing nails, or, like, whatever. So I think it's something you kinda have to, if you're starting off new with a company, you kinda have to, like, feel that out, and I think we've said this in other episodes, but, like, try to realize what the nature of that company is and, like, what their mannerisms are and everything because, some people just are like that.
Definitely, and if it makes you uncomfortable, then definitely just do not put up with it if that's what the company puts up with,
Right.
and if that's,
Yeah.
like, the environment of the company in
I
general.
know. It's such a type of thing where you have to use your best judgment, I feel like. But I also, think it helps. I have found that it has helped me to work from home because there definitely are days where, I don't know, you know, when you work in a high stress industry and you're surrounded by all men, you know, they handle stress differently than women for sure. And, you know, there have been times where things get heated on a conversation, and thank goodness I'm working from home because my sensitive personality, I get off the call and I start crying. But, like, you know, if I was working in an office, I would
You
feel
can't
so
cry.
uncomfortable. You can
Yeah.
cry, like, and I
Okay.
don't want them to be like, "Oh, this little girl," you know, like,
Yeah. Okay, side note, has there ever been a time where you did cry in the office?
no, but there was a time that I was just having, and this doesn't even, relate to, like, sexist remarks, but, like, there was a time that I was having a really stressful day, like, just one thing after another was being thrown at me, like, I was having to put all these fires out and figure all this stuff out that I had never really done before, and I had to host a review meeting on this document we were working on that I had done most of the legwork on, and we're reviewing it, and this guy, you know, who also, you know, it was just one of those things where everybody was stressed out that day, and he was just hitting me with all these questions and being like, "Well, you know, that's not gonna work," or like, I'm gonna have to look at this closely," and you know, just kind of coming at me every time I would say something. And I started to cry on the call. It wasn't video or anything.
Yeah.
So it's just my voice, but it's not like I was sobbing, you know, I was kind of like, my voice was quivering a little bit.
Oh, no.
And I think my boss could tell. I don't know if he could or not, but he kind of stepped in. He was like, you know what, we'll fix that later. Let's just move on. I was like,
Oh.
oh my God, thank you. But, you know, it is tough to sometimes work in a, you know, all male industry or, you know, job environment, and there's no really like girl that feels you, you know? There's
Yeah,
nobody who can be like
definitely.
after the call be like, "Hey girl, I feel you. That was tough," you know?
Yeah,
None of those guys were saying that to me.
definitely.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much for listening to this week's episode of My Best Friend's an Engineer. Um, be sure to give us a 5-star rating and leave a review. I think that you can only leave a review. Don't hold me to this, but I'm pretty sure you can only like type out a review on Apple Podcast. I don't know, Lexi, if you know anything
I
about any
think
of the
so,
other
yeah, because
platforms.
yeah, I think Spotify is just, like, the star thing,
Yeah.
and then Apple is where I see most of, like, the actual reviews, but we love to read them, so leave them.
I know, we actually have reviews, and I was going through them, and I was starting to tear up because I was like, "You guys are so
Aw.
sweet, leaving us little
Yeah, it's
messages,"
so exciting,
and
especially these, messages on the forums too. It's so
that
exciting to
too.
read, and I like reading them every week, and it's a good
Yeah.
reminder.
Yeah, so, you know, if you guys do end up giving a rating, or if you're able to leave a review on Apple Podcasts, make sure to screenshot it and DM it to us. You know, that will get you, you know, entered into our $100 Visa gift card giveaway. But, you know, if you do want the templates that Lexi talked about at the beginning of the episode, all you have to do is share the podcast anywhere on social media, take a screenshot of it, and then you'll upload that screenshot into the Google form, which will be in the show notes and then also in our Instagram bio.
Follow our Instagram, My Best Friend's an Engineer.
And our TikTok is the same.
Yeah.
My best friend's an engineer. But the YouTube, we also are posting these to YouTube if you guys prefer to listen there. That's just BFE podcast.
And make sure to follow our personal Instagrams and TikToks. Mine is Engineer Lexi.
And mine is Libby B on the label.
Awesome. Well, this is where we try again and do it
I know.
simultaneously. Okay, ready?
Okay. All right. Can I
Yeah.
just wait? We're gonna. Okay. You guys, you need to listen next week to Monday because obviously we're gonna have another fire episode. But what are we doing for this? Are we saying our names and then
Well,
we're
we're doing the
saying
same thing that we
thanks
usually
for
do.
we're saying thanks for listening. Thanks
Oh,
for
yeah.
listening.
Okay, I
Is
forgot.
that what we're doing?
Yeah, we'll do names. Thanks for listening to My Best Friend's an Engineer. Okay, ready?
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
All right. I'm Lexi,
I'm Libby,
and thanks for
and thanks for
listening
listening
to My
to
Best
my
Friend's
best friend's
an
an
Engineer. Oh my
engineer.
god, it's like we put a it's like we put an echo effect. Boom, boom, boom.
That was the worst one. I gotta say, that was the worst one.